The secret I'm about to reveal will completely change how you understand why your relationship feels like you're constantly falling short. Your partner isn't naturally critical or impossible to please. Her brain has been systematically rewired by a digital world that's creating impossible standards. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden psychology behind why she seems disappointed, why nothing you do feels good enough, and most importantly, how to break free from this toxic cycle that's destroying genuine love. You're watching Talk Raw. We break down the chaos of love, sex, mental health, and everything you're too afraid to talk about.
Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Every day, she's consuming hours of carefully curated content, perfect couples, flawless relationships, highlight reels that took teams of people to create. Her brain doesn't distinguish between reality and performance. Most people think she's just being picky or ungrateful, but here's the truth. Her perception has been hijacked by algorithms designed to make real life feel inadequate. You're not competing with real men. You're competing with fictional characters.
This is where it gets disturbing. Social media platforms profit from dissatisfaction. They deliberately show content that creates comparison and longing because that keeps people scrolling. Your partner sees couples who never argue, men who surprise their girlfriends with elaborate gestures daily, relationships that look effortless and perfect. Her subconscious mind starts believing this is normal, this is what love should look like. Suddenly, your real human effort seems small and disappointing.
But here's where it gets really twisted. The content she's consuming isn't even real. Those perfect couples? Many are actors or people performing for views. Those elaborate romantic gestures? Often sponsored content or one-time performances for the camera. That flawless communication and constant happiness? Completely fabricated. Yet her brain processes all of this as evidence of what's possible, what she deserves, what you should be providing.
The first psychological principle that explains everything is called social comparison theory. Humans naturally measure their lives against what they see around them, but social media has weaponized this instinct. Instead of comparing to her neighbors or friends, she's comparing your relationship to content created by marketing teams, professional photographers, and people whose job is to sell fantasy. Her brain can't tell the difference between authentic relationships and content designed to generate engagement.
Think about this logically. She sees a video of a guy surprising his girlfriend with 1,000 roses. Her brain registers, this is what thoughtful looks like. You bring her flowers from the grocery store, and instead of appreciation, she feels disappointed. Not because your gesture was bad, but because her reference point has been completely distorted. You're being measured against performances that took weeks to plan and execute, often with significant financial backing.
But here's where it gets even more complex. The second principle is neuroplasticity conditioning. Every time she watches this content, her brain literally rewires itself to expect these unrealistic standards. The dopamine hit from seeing perfect content trains her brain to seek that same level of excitement in real life. Your genuine, everyday love starts feeling boring by comparison, not because it is boring, but because her brain has been conditioned to need constant novelty and perfection.
And this creates what psychologists call hedonic adaptation on steroids. Normally, people adapt to good things and return to baseline happiness. But social media prevents this adaptation by constantly showing something better, something more exciting, something more romantic. She can never settle into appreciating what she has, because there's always a new video showing her what she's missing. The algorithm ensures she never feels satisfied.
The third principle will shock you. Reality distortion through selective exposure. She's not seeing real relationships on social media. She's seeing the best 30 seconds of someone's entire month, edited and filtered to perfection. But her brain processes this as normal daily life. She doesn't see the arguments, the mundane moments, the real work that goes into relationships. She only sees the highlight reel, which makes your real relationship seem deficient by comparison.
Here's the most damaging part. When you try to compete with this content, when you attempt grand gestures or try to be the perfect boyfriend she sees online, you're actually reinforcing the problem. You're validating that these artificial standards are real and achievable. This creates a cycle where both of you become frustrated. She expects constant perfection, and you exhaust yourself trying to provide something that doesn't actually exist.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The women who are happiest in relationships have one thing in common. They've learned to differentiate between content consumption and reality appreciation. They understand that social media is entertainment, not instruction. They measure their relationships against their own values and experiences, not against curated content designed to sell products or generate views.
The fourth principle changes everything. Authentic gratitude versus comparative dissatisfaction. When someone is constantly consuming comparison content, their brain loses the ability to generate genuine appreciation for what's in front of them. They become addicted to the feeling of more and better. But when someone limits this input and focuses on present reality, their natural capacity for gratitude returns.
This explains why some women seem impossible to please while others appreciate small gestures deeply. It's not about personality or values. It's about what their brains have been trained to expect. The woman who's constantly scrolling through relationship content literally cannot see your efforts clearly. Her perception has been distorted by algorithms that profit from her dissatisfaction with real life.
So, what's the solution? First, recognize that you're not actually falling short. You're being measured against fictional standards. Second, understand that this isn't about your partner being shallow or ungrateful. Her brain has been hijacked by content designed to create dissatisfaction. Third, the real work isn't trying to compete with social media. It's helping both of you return to reality-based expectations.
Here's your practical approach. Have an honest conversation about social media consumption and its effects on expectations. Suggest a temporary break from relationship content together, not as punishment, but as an experiment in returning to authentic appreciation. Focus on creating real moments together instead of trying to recreate what you've seen online. Real love happens in ordinary moments, not in carefully staged performances.
Remember this, every couple that has lasting happiness learned to value their actual relationship over idealized versions they see elsewhere. They measure their love against their own growth and connection, not against content created by strangers for profit. The most secure, happy women in relationships aren't those who have perfect partners. They're those who can see and appreciate the real person in front of them.
You now understand why your relationship has felt like an uphill battle and why your efforts seem to go unnoticed. It wasn't because you weren't enough. It was because both of you were measuring against impossible, artificial standards. When you return to reality-based expectations and authentic appreciation, everything changes. Real love becomes visible again, and genuine connection becomes possible.
If this explanation has helped you understand what's really been happening in your relationship, subscribe for more insights that cut through the confusion and reveal what's actually going on. Understanding psychology is the key to transforming your relationships. See you next time.